chew, mouth, right? And that makes so much sense because that's where you start, that's where you put the food, right? But it actually starts in the brain. You start the entire digestive process in the brain, and it starts by thinking about the food. You know, how many times has somebody said to you, hey, you want to get a pizza? And immediately your mouth starts to water. Or you want to go to that, you know, favorite Chinese place that you like, and you're automatically, you just get that feeling like, oh yeah, I want to go. I like it. So it's a brain-related thing. And the biggest thing for me is to let people know, we've heard, I think, throughout the weekend a couple times already, the difference between parasympathetic state and sympathetic state. But just to clarify those two different states of being, the parasympathetic state is your rest and digest. So that is what your body needs to be in so that you can actually digest the food. If you're in a sympathetic state, you are in the fight or flight mode. So think of, you know, our ancestors from hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago. They were in a sympathetic state when they were running from giant beasts because they were afraid of being somebody else's dinner. So they were frightened and their body said, okay, all we can focus on right now is keeping you alive. So they put every other bodily function aside except for keeping you alive. That's the sympathetic state. That's that fight or flight. So it made sense when we were cave people to have that instinct, to need to go in there and to have our body kind of set everything aside. But unfortunately, where we're at in society today is we're not being chased by velociraptors. We're not, you know, worried about our lives being taken from us, but we're constantly stressed. Like, think about it. How many of you guys are running out the door to eat something? Or while you're eating something, or eating in the car, or eating while you're standing over the kitchen sink, or between, you know, one meeting and the next, you're just trying to like figure out what to put in your mouth. So your body is in that sympathetic mode, that mode of fight or flight. So giving it maybe even the best, most beautiful salad or nutrient-dense meal, and it still looks at that as it comes in and goes, you're so stressed and you're so worried that your body won't digest the food. So step one, be mindful. Please be mindful with your food. Remember, maybe Grandma, Aunt Judy, or somebody down the line said, let's all say grace. Let's take a moment to look at our food, to appreciate our food. I'm not saying everybody has to say grace, but gosh, it was a good idea, because when you sit down and you put a plate of food in front of you and you take a few deep breaths, you know, just take that moment, whether it's to say a prayer or just to say, boy, it smells good, it looks good, and to give yourself that moment. And what you're doing is you're appreciating the meal, but you're also putting yourself in a parasympathetic state. And that parasympathetic state is the rest and digest. It's our ability to actually see that food coming in and say, oh, your body goes, I'm gonna be able to absorb and take all the nutrients from this. So it's that first step, being in the right mindset, taking a moment. Try not to eat in the car. Try not to eat running out the door. I know the lives that we all have, it's really, really hard. But try and make those conscious decisions, those conscious choices, and try and instill that in the people that you care about. Because it's so important, and it's such a small thing, but when I work with clients and keep coming back with them saying, how are you doing about sitting down to eat? How are you doing about giving yourself more than 14 minutes to eat a meal? Are you giving yourself an hour to sit with your family or your friends or whoever it is and not have your phone in front of you? Just to relax, to enjoy the experience, and it builds relationships too. It's a win-win. So parasympathetic, what would you say?
So I mean, Jess and I started learning a few years ago about wine. So we started doing all these wine tastings, and one of the first things they teach you is to look at the wine, swirl around the wine, watch how the wine reacts in the glass, and then smell the wine once, smell it again, and then they want you to smell it a third time and get your nose down in there. And it's like so true about food. We don't do that with our food.
We don't.
We dive in before we even think about it.
How many of us have somebody who sits at the table and you never even see them eat because it's gone? Like they just sit down and it's gone. And that goes back to what Grandma used to say too, is chew your food, Robert. Chew it.
Yeah, Jenny. course.
We don't talk, we're both just like,
Put it in a food processor.
yeah.
And it's so important because you guys, I know, are eating a really good diet, but you gotta give your body that benefit. There aren't any teeth in your tummies, like
I have a
stomach.
question. I have a question, and it's perfect segue with him asking about wine.
Yeah.
Does a glass of wine, which calms you down, does that actually activate the parasympathetic state, or does it artificially activate the parasympathetic state? Like, would your body consider yourself in a relaxed parasympathetic state with that glass of wine, or
I
is
think
it having a...
it's a great question because I think it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but I would think that it does have a calming effect and it's a depressant, so I would think it would relax you. I also don't think you should drink a whole lot while you're eating just because it's a diuretic and you don't want to add a whole lot of liquids. You want to focus, let your body focus on eating. But yeah, I don't see a problem with a little bit of wine with the meal if that's a choice that you're making. And I don't think it's going to take you out of the parasympathetic state.
before every meal.
I'm not also saying that.
That's what I heard.
Part of
too.
That is Xanax.
Is it weird to have it for breakfast?
Hey, they have it
Was that the meal?
they have it for lunch in Italy, and it's like a common thing. So
Oh,
it's like water.
So we're starting with the brain. We talked about the parasympathetic state, just being mindful, being thoughtful, taking time. I scolded Robert for not chewing his food. That's another big one. So many, and I'm just teasing, but so many people, I think we chew like 6 times. Like I've watched my teenagers, and it's like, gone. And I'm just like, that was steak. How did you? And then I've done this before, which is a real food, is try and like challenge them. Okay, everybody chew this bite 30 times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
so
just
hard.
like, until it gets to
Never
like
happened.
trying, and it's so hard. But that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be chewing your food until it's liquid, or as close to liquid as possible, and that's so that the chemical breakdowns occur. So as soon as you put something in your mouth, salivary amylase is this terrific thing that immediately starts breaking down carbohydrates. Okay, so the process is happening both mechanically and chemically in your mouth. But if you don't chew your food, you're giving the whole rest of the digestive process so much more work to do. And if you want to be able to digest your food, you don't want to have big farts after dinner. You don't want to have big burps. You don't want to feel so bloated that you feel like you're distended and gassy, all that stuff. Then do yourself a favor. Take a minute, slow down, chew your food. So these things are the very first steps in digesting food properly. It's up to you. You can take a big old bite, but chew it.
I'm just gonna blend it all, save myself some time.
But it's just so important to chew your food and slow down. Once we get that nicely chewed piece of food, we're still calm, it's sliding down our lovely esophagus. Your stomach has 2 little valves, one at the top, one at the bottom. The technical names are the cardiac sphincter at the top and the pyloric sphincter at the bottom. But they're like little gateways. So the food goes in through that cardiac sphincter into your stomach. And when everything's working properly, you have this hydrochloric acid, this pepsin, these digestive enzymes that are starting to make things gurgle and bubble and do all these wonderful things because you want the acidity in your stomach to help break down the food. Your stomach needs an acidity level of 1.5 to 3 to really break down the food. Unfortunately, I'm going to put this out there. I don't know if everybody knows it, but over 90% of people have too little stomach acid. And most people feel that that's the absolute opposite. Most people feel like, well, I've been taking Rolaids, I've been taking Tums, I've been taking Prilosec, and I still can't put the fire out. I have way too much heartburn, I have way too much acid reflux. Well, guess what, gang? You've been sold a bill of goods that is just crapola. I don't know a better way to say it. But the majority of people, and there's studies that support this, we have too little stomach acid. So all that terrific food that we took all that time to chew and now it's in our stomach, it's just gurgling and bubbling. So what do they say? Proteins putrefy, carbohydrates rancidify, and the fats.
The carbohydrates ferment and fats go rancid, yeah.
Okay, or yeah, I switched them around. But basically all your macronutrients are just doing all these terrible things and bubbling up but you want that. You want them to all get broken down by the acid in your stomach. But when there's too little acid in your stomach, all it starts to do is it starts to bubble and gurgle, and it's like a little science experiment, and it comes up to that little cardiac sphincter. And that little cardiac sphincter is not a trap door. It is just keeping the food from going back up so you don't choke. So when things start to bubble up, it comes up, and that's where you get that burning sensation. It's because things haven't been broken down enough. There was not enough stomach acid. And I don't know, I know I've talked to some of the people here, but hydrochloric acid, you need more of it, more often than not. And almost everybody, pretty much everybody I've ever encountered, and all the other nutritional therapy practitioners that I've worked with have said the same. It's so incredibly rare to come across somebody who doesn't have too little stomach acid. So instead of taking Prilosec, instead of taking Tums and Rolaids and all those things that, surprisingly enough, never make you feel totally better. You have to keep taking them. It might like put it out for a second, or maybe an hour or so, and then you eat something else, and that burn comes back. Or you eat pizza again the next night, and the burn comes back. So if you have enough stomach acid in your stomach, and sometimes you need a supplement to help get that going, to help get your stomach to really start creating its own stomach acid enough regularly. But that's a short window. Usually your stomach will then get retrained to create enough stomach acid on its own, so we can break everything down properly for you and send it on to the next step. And the next step is the small intestine. So we've got the brain, we've got making good choices as far as slowing down, eating slowly, chewing your food. Then when we get the food in our stomach, we want to have enough hydrochloric acid. To make sure we have enough, you want to be in that parasympathetic state. And something that often works for a lot of people that I work with is apple cider vinegar. Anybody familiar with it? You ever heard of it? Okay, I recommend it to so many people to do like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with equal amounts of water, and just take a shot of it in the morning and at night, minimal, especially if you have lots of heartburn, lots of digestive issues, lots of reflux, any of those issues. If they're constant for you, do the apple cider vinegar in the morning and at night. And if it's a really strong issue that you have like in every single meal, if you can do it 30 minutes before each meal, a little apple cider vinegar, and do it consistently, you will see improvements. That's the most natural way to go. We also have supplements that we can provide, or not provide, but recommend, that are just straight up hydrochloric supplements that help increase the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So if you are struggling with a lot of digestive issues and some of the easier tips don't work, reach out to somebody that you know that can suggest or recommend really good stomach acid.
And it's a 1-for-1?
One
Vinegar or water?
Vinegar to water, yeah. I always recommend to.
tea, like a warm.
Sure. In fact, I know a girl who drinks apple cider vinegar and lemon in water every morning.
I wonder if it'll work with tequila.
Don't know.
You'll let me know.
N equals 1 experiment.
N equals 1. Everybody.
I don't think there's
A tablespoon of tequila.
Okay, so now we're back to the stomach. Things are breaking down properly, and the next place we go is we go through that pyloric sphincter, which is the little gate at the bottom of your stomach. Now things go into the duodenum, basically the first part of your small intestine. But what's so terrifically incredible about the duodenum is it will sense what's the acidic level. Because everything got so acidic in your stomach, if everything's working out well. Remember I said 1.5 to 3 is the acidity level, which is like burn a hole in the floor, kind of like we're talking super acidic. It gets into the small intestine, it doesn't need to be that acidic. So your body is so incredibly magical, and the pancreas is secretin is created in is triggered by this now it's called chyme in the duodenum, and it triggers secretin to send out bicarbonate. So bicarbonate is like baking soda, like a cooling effect. So it takes that acidity level much lower. So it brings that acidity level because the small intestine doesn't want all that acid, really, really burning stuff going through the whole small intestine. So we bring in secretin, which triggers the bicarbonate, and then cholecystokinin, which is just another hormone that helps to emulsify fats. So the duodenum is where your fats are going to finish getting their whole breakdown happening. So if you're eating a low-fat or no-fat diet, there's this terrible thing that'll happen. Your liver that creates all the bile, and bile is this terrific, nasty river that gets all the toxins out of your body. Your liver keeps creating all this bile over and over and over again, and it goes into the gallbladder. So your liver's sitting here, your gallbladder's sitting right under the liver, and while the liver creates all of this bile, it sits in the gallbladder, and that gallbladder just holds that bile. Just hold on to that bile until the duodenum says, we've got fat, we've got good fat. So the gallbladder takes all that bile and just sort of contracts like a little balloon. It contracts, and the bile goes down the common bile duct into the small intestine, and it breaks up all that fat. So the fats get broken down into fatty acids and glycerol molecules, which is what you need for your body to be able to absorb those nutrients. If things don't get broken down properly, what they end up doing is they get stuck inside your colon. They don't properly get received to your body as nutrients. Have you ever heard of leaky gut? You ever heard that term? No, you've heard that. Okay.
Call the plumber. Can you call a plumber for that?
When these big chunks of undigested food that we didn't properly chew in the first place, get down to the small intestine, or if the gallbladder doesn't signal to let that beautiful river of bile come through, these bigger chunks of food start slipping into your small intestine. And the permeability of the small intestine, it's like this great little wall, but those little bits of food that haven't broken down properly start to slip through those little junctions within the small intestine. So that's what leaky gut is. It's those junctions getting bigger and bigger, and those chunks of food that weren't properly digested going through. So what does your body do? It sees these pieces of food floating around, and it thinks, they are not supposed to be down here. Enemy. That's an enemy. And that's when you get autoimmune issues. That's when you become allergic to things. That's when you start having sensitivities to different foods. And it all goes back to digestion, to just being able to digest your food properly, thinking about it, chewing it, being mindful, having enough stomach acid to break it all down. It's like this perfect cascade, or this perfect like choreographed dance, but you've got to be the best advocate for yourself.
So if you don't have a gallbladder, then are you going to have trouble being on a keto diet because you have so much more fat, or what?
Let me give my answer, and then you guys can talk.
Christine has no gallbladder, so she can tell you.
Well, I don't either, so that's why I'm asking.
What I know to be true is that, so the liver keeps creating the bile, but that beautiful gallbladder that just collects it and then contracts it when it's necessary, if you take that away, and a lot of people don't have their gallbladder. There are a lot of people who have gallbladder issues, and a lot of times that's because they were on no-fat diets or low-fat diets, and it got to the point where the bile kept expanding, and it kept expanding and filling up with all the bile, but it was never getting the message from the small intestine saying, we've got good fat, bring on the bile. So at some point, it can't even contract anymore. It won't squeeze, it won't, so it gets infected, it starts to hurt, and when doctors hear your gallbladder hurts, they say, oh, I've got time next Wednesday. We'll just go ahead and schedule that, and we'll take care of it. It's a no big deal. Everybody does it. You don't need it anyways. Well, here's the thing. You can live and do keto and be, okay, but the liver's still going to create the bile, and now it's just going to drip, almost like a leaky faucet. It's still going to drop that bile into the bile duct and into the small intestine, but it's not going to always be enough for how much fat that you have to be emulsified, and sometimes it's going to be too much because it's just dripping, even when you don't have fat. So it creates a new level of just being aware, and everybody's different, but there are supplements, and I very, very rarely ever say that I feel like supplements should be something that you take long term. If you're missing a gallbladder, I think that's one of the cases where I say there are certain supplements that can make such a big improvement for you to be able to process things effectively, especially if you're having difficulty, if you're increasing your fats in your diet and you're having trouble digesting it. Christine, you can probably talk more specifically to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I take, Biotics has one that I take. There's two different ones for people that still have a gallbladder. They can take beta TCP for that extra support. I take beta plus. Evidently it's got a little something extra in there for people that don't have a gallbladder. But I found that starting out, I stuck with butter, and there was one other thing that it doesn't need bile to break it down.
Was it coconut oil?
Coconut oil, I think. It doesn't need bile to break those down. So if you're wanting to get those fats in, start out with that and then slowly add in those other fats until your body adjusts. But yeah, I agree totally with you. In that case, you do need this supplement.
And talk about the gallbladder being a storage container.
Yeah, she was just saying that the liver is the organ that creates the bile. The gallbladder is just a storage container for that until it has that signal to release the bile
Right.
to help digest the fat.
Yep.
I was asking about the gallbladder.
So if somebody was diagnosed like tomorrow, like, hey, we hear from a friend that they're gonna have to lose their gallbladder, what's the recommended advice? Do we tell them, like, hey, you can fix this, or like, sorry, it's too late for you?
I think, and this is my own personal opinion, but I think very often that diagnosis can be changed.
Yes.
I think there are some circumstances where it's so far gone, it's so infected, it's been such a chronic issue that they might actually have to remove it. But I think, 8, 9 times out of 10, it can be resolved through diet and through lifestyle change.
And it takes time.
Yeah, it's not an overnight success,
Yeah.
but eating healthy fats is crucial to it. And so many people, I mean, think of how many years probably most of us in this room were fans of, Wesson oil and canola oil, and because, and yeah, Crisco.
I don't think fan is the word, but we did it.
Well, we did it because that's all we do. I mean, that's what we were told.
The default diet, yeah.
That's a good way to go, and that messed up so many of us, and that's why we're seeing this incidence of gallbladder ectomies, and I think there's a more appropriate term for it, but they're so common. It's a very, very common thing. One of the first questions I ask whenever I work with somebody is, do you have your gallbladder? Because so often they don't, or they have issues with it. So,
What percentage of your clients don't have one?
oh, gosh,
20?
at least, yeah. I mean, it's
I've
a
always
lot
heard
of
people with gastric bypass end up getting their gallbladders out. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've
And that
heard, because
might
they
be
can't
because of
handle it.
Probably a fat malabsorption thing, yeah.
Yeah. So the gallbladder and the liver are these terrific guys that work together. They bring the bile into the small intestines. Once things then are broken down to the point where then the small intestine is where 90% of the absorption of all your nutrients occurs in your small intestine. So there's these villi and microvilli, like the little, I remember telling my kids, explaining it to you, like, nose hairs, how they sort of, when you breathe in, they're cold, and you can feel those little guys. That's what you got inside your gut linings to kind of get all these great nutrients and take it all in. So when things are working properly, that's what you have. You have all these little fingerlings that are pulling all those terrific little molecules and using them for the nutrients that you need to fuel yourself, to give yourself energy. But like I said, if it's not working properly, if you're going against the grain and not eating your food properly and not being in a parasympathetic state, you can have that permeability of the small intestine, all sorts of different immune concerns and allergy issues can result from that small intestine, those issues there. Once we move from the small intestine and move into the large intestine, its main role is just to recycle what's going in there. So now we've got it down to basically waste and sloughed off cells. But your large intestine is also the fun time zone for probiotics. You guys hear a lot about probiotics. Well, where are they in the body? Where do they hang out? They're living in that large intestine. And they're trying to take every single last bit of nutrients out of whatever's coming through before it goes down the chute and comes out into, the president's nose where everything ends. But so that's where the probiotics live. And that is pretty much my little picture, my soundbite on digestion. But for me, it was hugely just astounding to learn the whole process of how it works, the breakdown of all the different things, and just so incredibly magical. Like that your stomach will immediately excrete these different enzymes and the different hormones that are excreted through your small intestine so that everything works perfectly. And then, I watch my 15-year-old kid who doesn't even chew his food. I'm like, please, just take your time. Slow down. And I know I'm guilty of it too. I think we all are. But if you have a picture of the process and know what's going on and think it makes it so much more relatable to want to do yourself a favor and sit down, slow down, chew your food. And if you feel like you are having a lot of intestinal distress on a regular basis, having a lot of gas, bloating, constipation, then hydrochloric acid, I'm telling you, it's your stomach acid is not enough. And try the apple cider vinegar as step one. If you see a little bit of benefit but not enough, reach out to a nutritional therapist, reach out to somebody else, or that can guide you to a good hydrochloric acid supplement.
Is it good for just anybody though?
Apple cider vinegar? In my opinion, yes, because like over 90% of people don't have enough stomach acid. Now,
It's not gonna hurt you.
right, it's not gonna hurt you, but if you have no intestinal distress at all, like you never fart, you never have burps, you never have bloating, you never have, then I wouldn't say you better go. I mean, I think it's more beneficial if you're having a problem. But yeah, I haven't met that person.
So most people think that anyone, it's totally normal to always have those, farts and burps after a meal. That's just normal.
My dad always said it was compliments to the chef. Oh, gee, this was the best meal ever. Hear this? Yeah. You know, like all these kind of. My dad's a great guy. He's really, really good. Yeah.
That's too real. Thank you.
So you're saying that it's not normal?
No, it's
normal.
Most people's normal, but it shouldn't be. And I could go on a whole other blood sugar tangent, but PMS is not normal either.
This
Right?
makes me so happy because I have 3 boys at home and my husband, and now I can get rid of this gas going on. I'm happy about this. Yeah, now I know the reason I can stop this. Like, no. But my question goes back to when you're talking about leaky gut. So you're telling me that, a lot of it goes back to, just digestion and maybe stomach acid. Is it something that's hereditary? Because
So my opinion on that is that we are all given a blueprint. DNA is like this blueprint. It's hardwiring to some extent, but epigenetics, I know Jimmy mentioned it before, you have the ability to, every choice you make, starting from when you're, so little you're not even making your own choices, but like everything you eat, every chemical you allow yourself to be exposed to, like every lipstick you put on, every deodorant, every place you go, every place you work, you're affecting your blueprint. So yes, your DNA is your DNA. You can't change that. And you might have a ton of, hereditary issues that are in your past. But you have so much control. You have so much control over your epigenetics. But you have to be your own advocate. You have to work so hard to make sure that you're using clean products, that you're eating clean food, that you're eating at a table, you're slowing down. Like, all this stuff adds up. And to me, it's all about, what you're eating, how much movement you're getting, how much rest you're getting, and the relationships that you have. Like, all those things, it's holistic.
I'm just trying to figure out, because my first in autoimmunity started when I was 12.
Okay.
So I don't know what was going on at that time. I don't, can't say what.
And everybody's different. Like, I know you grew up in the same house, you grew up with your sister, so each body is gonna have a proclivity towards a different journey. Like you guys were probably raised getting the same meals to some extent, but it's just, it's how your body processed those and how it happened. But you still have the control to make the best choices that you can to improve everything for yourself.
I feel like I'm more like my dad. He eats more sugar than anybody I know, and his body, and he's thin, and he's still muscular, and he's in his 70s, and his body handles it. He's got a lot of energy. And then she's more like my mom. My mom's health-wise is doing horrible, and she's a year younger than my dad, but she eats the same diet my dad did, and she's on oxygen, and she's, her health is failing. She's got all kinds of hardening of the arteries, she's got pressure on her heart issues, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. She's got, a lot of health issues.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I don't know if anybody else wants to talk about the epigenetics of it, but that to me is fascinating stuff. Like, because I think there's a lot to be said that we're handed what we're handed, but I think too often people are like, well, diabetes is in my family, or heart disease is in my family, And don't take that easy way out.
Yeah.
That doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, it might be there that we can't deny grandpa or grandma Sue, but like, every choice you make is going to either improve your scenario or enable you to have a better ending or make it worse.
So I heard it this way one time: genetics loads the gun, your diet and lifestyle pulls the trigger.
And what's crazy is the decisions you make can have an epigenetic effect for generations.
Yes.
So what you do now not only affects you, but your kids' kids. I mean, it affects your grandkids' kids. So it's like you have a responsibility with the knowledge you have to care about them, and you won't even see them.
Yeah.
You know.
So you had been with the leaky gut and like what kind of causes it, but if you discover or you feel that your patients have it, then what do you do to tell them?
Can you fix
Like, what's the path of?
So I always go back to the beginning. It's a north to south process, starting with the brain. So I always start like back to the basics. I remember Robert, you said earlier today, I just try to make it as simple as possible. And I would never sit down with a client and say, we're gonna get rid of that leaky gut. But what I can say is, we can do a lot. We can do so much through these holistic steps, through diet, through lifestyle choices. So let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at how you're eating. And I start with basically the same thing I talked to you guys about today is, when do you eat? Do you sit at a table? Do you, it just goes back to being in the right place, being in the right frame of mind. And I know it seems so simple, but it's so important because your body won't digest it properly if you're not in a rest and digest mode. So that's big. Hydration is a big one.
When this all takes place?
I mean, everybody's digestion process is a little bit differently. Generally, we all digest within about 24 to 48 hours the food that we're eating. But some people digest faster. Some people, Crystal said she's got a slower system. So that's not as big of a concern to me as much as the ill effects that you're having. And I want to know why. I want to know how often you've been having them, why you've been having them, when you remember them starting. Do they happen when you eat certain things rather than others? Like I know for my husband, he was on Prilosec for like 10 years. And he always thought it was red wine, spaghetti sauce, like all the typical things that you've always been told. Well, we did an elimination diet for 21 days. They all went away. This is a guy who had heartburn every day or we'll wake him up at night, like all the time. And so he's like, wow, this is so great. And so as soon as we finished our fast, he had red wine, like 2 or 3 days in a row, in a sizable amount. And he's like, totally fine. I'm totally fine. He had a giant sandwich. I think it might have been Five Guys, but it was this giant, and it was gluten. For him, is what is his heartburn creator. So he's learned if he stays away from gluten and carbs, then he doesn't have any heartburn at all. Yeah, no, it's okay.
I noticed because I know, like, with leaf gut, I mean, a lot of things, with having the history that I have had, I noticed that eating was stressful for me. Because I knew as soon as I put something in my mouth, I was going to soon find out whether it was good or bad. And that is stressful. So not only are you not relaxing before your meal, but you're eating your meal, like, waiting for it to happen.
I got to the point where I feared food.
Yeah.
I was just like afraid of it because well, you've been hurt so many times, of course. Yeah, that's natural.
But you
My
try
kind of like go-to is know what foods are solid and stick to that. And it's similar to the elimination, but I tried an elimination diet and it went terrible.
Yeah.
Because they make you eat things that you're not sensitive to in a blood test, but your stomach might be sensitive to.
Right.
So eat things that cause no problem.
Yeah.
And then slowly introduce one thing and then the next thing. And it is such a process, but you, like that stress of like knowing this whole week I'm going to be totally fine. On Saturday I'm going to try zucchini. And if that works good, that works good, but it's only one day. And the rest of the days, you know you're going to feel good.
It is exhausting, but you have to experiment
Yes.
with yourself. Yeah. And that's why if you want to work with like a nutritional therapy practitioner to help coach you and walk you through it, but you can totally, I think Robert said it earlier today too, like you have to do your own experiment and you have to like figure out like what.
There's just so much information with me and depending on who I go to, this people says this and then this book says that. I've done some research that I was just like, you know, and one other thing that I wanted to bring up, I did like a quiz or whatever, it said I have candida growth. Do you know anything about that? Or like, I mean, not to say that I actually tested, I just took like a test based off my symptoms, so it's like, there's another thing that it's like, do I actually have this? Do I, you know?
So candida to me is similar to SIBO, and I don't know if you can talk to it more. I'm not an expert in either of those, but it's an overgrowth in your gut of the bad bacteria, essentially. So there are different protocols that you can be put on to clear out the candida, but I wouldn't go that route unless you were definitively diagnosed with that. And sometimes jumping at addressing that isn't necessarily the best first course. Sometimes just getting to a place where you're eating healthier and eating in a better state will help improve maybe some of the symptoms that you're having that you think are that. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't know if you guys
Especially if it's candida, so I was also diagnosed with candida overgrowth, and so we all have candida, it's in our guts, and it's there for a purpose, but it can overgrow. If it gets fed, we eat too many of the wrong things, which is sugar and carbs, then it gets overpopulated and starts running down the good bacteria that are in there, so it kind of takes over, and it can cause all kinds of issues and distress. So, again, like Molly said, I'm not an expert in it at all either, and I was actually tested through my functional medicine doc and actually saw the levels of candida that I had. So I was mildly high on the candida, I mean, so it's a pretty good amount of it. And what it can do is it can lead you to have sugar cravings, and because you are literally being driven by that candida. Again, it wants food, like feed me now, and so it can cause you to have like those kind of cravings and things. And so I was experiencing a lot of that, and but most of us that are addicted to sugar are experiencing that anyway. So I think sometimes we'll take those tests and then we're like, oh yeah, that's totally me. Like, right, yeah, I crave it all the time. And am I sleepy? Well, yeah, I'm sleepy all the time. And like, you take these things and you're like, well, really, like, it must be because you're eating that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know that that's 100%. So I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't, if I was you, I wouldn't be like, oh, I have it because I took this test. Because I think the things that a lot of those tests ask you, we could probably all answer yes. Sure. But having said that, I would say that if you really do have the candida, it really does drive you and it does make it harder, but it's even more of a reason to get off the carbohydrates, fruit included, because all of that feeds the candida and just makes it stronger.
So just getting off the carbs could.
Just getting off the carbs enough could make it die down enough that it would be much easier for you to get that under control and get it back into line where it should be. Yeah, without necessarily having to do anything. But that's not to say that you won't. I mean, maybe you would need to do something like even just taking garlic, like eating something like that will help to knock it back down. But like Molly's saying, I totally agree with, to start, I wouldn't go after the candida. I would go after fixing my diet and getting that in line, and then maybe that'll pull things down a little bit for you. And then if you have to go after it more and you're like, man, I still am struggling with this, I do feel like I've still got these issues. Because once you come off of the carbohydrates and all of that type of thing, and you get your blood sugar under control, it will magnify everything else that you're dealing with. So you'll start like that. So like those types of things, like maybe candida, you'll be like, oh, I've definitely got something going on because I feel so good everywhere else. There's something going on in there. Like you start to really notice things. You don't realize how bad you felt until you start feeling good with nutrition, and your body's like so full of all the nutrients that it needs. So I agree. I would cut that. I would do the diet first, and then there are other natural ways that you can attack the candida if you still feel like that is an issue, without necessarily having to go get the test. But
Is it time to digest dinner?
yes, it's time to digest. So, well, not quite yet, but we're gonna get in the headspace for dinner, and so you guys are gonna start getting into that rest and digest, which is also called feed and breathe, which I think is really fun.
Hey, we're done.
So, I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about what we're gonna be eating so you can get ready for that and get prepared.